Ermano Quartero is the Vodacom executive for SD-WAN. Ermano, it's good to see you again, despite these challenging conditions we're facing globally. Firstly, how are you and how's the lockdown been treating you?
Very well, Aki. Good to see you too. Yeah, it's been difficult times, but I guess we're all used to working from home. And I guess it's the new normal. So this is how we roll from now on, I guess.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be in it for the next couple of months still. So yeah, but I think most people are used to it.
Oh, that's good stuff. Now, you've been keeping your hands very busy at Vodacom. You've been working on all sorts of things. Some will call you a veteran at Vodacom. You've done so many things in the IT industry per se. But the new hot terminology right now is SD-WAN. If I had to meet you in the street and say, Ermano, what on earth is SD-WAN? What would you tell me?
Okay, yeah. So SD-WAN is a new overlay cloud-based technology. It's kind of the latest way to kind of manage enterprise networks. It's very simple. It's grown out of the cloud players. It effectively takes your network connectivity and gives it a cloud-based flavor to it so that you can manage it remotely. You can control your network a lot easier. It's very simple to deploy, and it's very inexpensive versus traditional networks. I guess it's the cloud version of a network.
Oh, okay. So, you got those traditional switch boxes or whatever with all the IP addresses. This SD-WAN is kind of the cloud version that gets kind of automated. I mean, you've given it a great analogy over there, so I get where it is. And I can understand why it's so important, because when you look at the massive move to cloud, especially in the last 6 months, I mean, it was always on the radar of businesses, but you can't do and run your network the way you used to with a cloud infrastructure at the moment. So you got to kind of modernize it with SD-WAN. Within the South African context, where are you seeing South African businesses using them, SD-WAN, for example, and what kind of benefit is it providing?
Well, I think COVID has really brought SD-WAN to the fore and has really proved the value of SD-WAN, where it can be monitored and controlled from anywhere because all the technology is in the cloud. Because it's very cost effective and because primarily it makes use of an inexpensive internet connection versus the traditional MPLS, which required a very expensive network connection with all sorts of expensive routers. SD-WAN comes in a lot cheaper. Because it's very flexible and it's easy to manage, it's really proven its worth. I mean, a classic example is a traditional MPLS network would probably, a traditional SD-WAN network will probably cost less than half of your standard MPLS network in terms of cost. In terms of performance, it performs just as well. You're utilizing all your same underlying technology, but you're effectively using an inexpensive internet. But what really makes it attractive is the way you can configure it on the fly and the way you can control it and manage it. So imagine Black Friday a number of stores have got sudden influx of people. Under a traditional MPLS network, the network manager, the architect had to presuppose what the load would be. Now in real time, the IT manager can suddenly give more capacity to certain applications or certain branches. A store that suddenly has got an influx of people can create a different profile of connectivity to the in-house Wi-Fi. So it's been used to cut costs and it's been used to maximize the underlying infrastructure they've got.
Oh, it's fascinating stuff, and it makes complete sense. I mean,
it's very popular.
Yeah, I mean, you specifically at Vodacom. I mean, the SD-WAN is something that Vodacom is focusing on at the moment. You touched on many of the retail industries. Is it only retail, or what kind of other industries can implement SD-WAN, for example?
So initially, we thought that SD-WAN would be very popular amongst the SME space, because we thought the real cost efficiency and the flexibility would kind of be attractive to the smaller businesses. We were blown away when very large retailers suddenly realized that the cost advantage and the flexibility really makes it a worthwhile proposition. And it's way beyond retail. So we found that businesses with many branches have a really big value. So it's financial service companies, it's barrage, motor dealerships, motor manufacturers, transport and logistic companies, companies that have got many branches, or companies that have got many endpoints, really get a good cost advantage out of SD-WAN. It's very easy to deploy, and it's very mobile. So take, for example, a retailer that wants to launch a whole lot of pop-up stores. Yes. They literally just open up the container, send a car with a device, plug it in, connect it to a 3G network, and the SD-WAN comes alive, discovers itself, and literally within minutes, that store is trading. So those are the type of uses that's got in the market right now.
Yeah, it's incredible how flexible this the system is, and how easy it is to just simply roll out. So it makes perfect sense that, and I can understand why businesses are deploying it at such a rapid pace. But the reality is where we are with COVID, and the one thing that's become apparently clear is that security is the loophole and is the Achilles heel of working remotely with these kind of things. When you look at SD-WAN and you look at these remote deployments, surely security is an issue, and speed and connectivity. How speed dependent is remote working with SD-WAN setups like you described? And talk to us about the security, because I think security is really, really important.
Okay, so I think the main advantage is it makes use of any available infrastructure that's there. So take, for example, a school that's in an area where they can get a gigabit of fiber from, let's say, CCOM, can get it up and running really, really quickly. Or you can have a remote store that's somewhere really far in the sticks, and all they've got access is to a 3G connection. It works equally as well. Obviously, they stuck with the level of speed they've got. From security perspective, SD-WAN treats every site the same. So whether you've got a site that's got a full-blown fiber connection, or a site that's very remote with a 3G connection, it treats the security aspect exactly the same. So you can create a group security profile, download it to all the end devices, and you can control it. A lot of the SD-WAN vendors have got security built in. So it's got a built-in firewall in the appliance that you put there. So you don't have to have on top of your SD-WAN an additional layer of security. So it makes it easy to manage and easy to control policies. Flexibility again becomes key.
Yeah. I mean, this is the one thing that is coming through over and over again, is that you're reducing complexity, you're increasing your agility in your organization, and you can deploy stuff at a much faster speed. And I think those elements are very key in the world that we're living in today, where businesses are looking to innovate and transform really quickly. I mean, it must be fascinating for you, being in the IT industry for a long time, just to see what's happened in the last 6 months. I guess many people at the beginning of March thought, wow, how are we going to manage this? But yet, together with the cloud and digital transformation, people have brought forward a lot of their projects and started transforming digitally even more aggressively. And I don't think without the cloud's been the glue, right? That's been holding us together throughout this entire period. When you look at your role at Vodacom and you look back at where we've come from to where we are today, I mean, I look at Vodacom and how you guys have transformed digitally into all these different businesses, your partnerships with AWS, for example. You're a very flexible company and a very different company to what you were, say, a decade ago. So what is Vodacom doing in this digital space to help companies digitally transform and move into this new era that we're talking about?
Okay, you're right. We've gone through a tremendous phase of development, having come from being a telco to positioning ourselves now as a technology company. I think the underlying asset and the underlying advantage we've got is obviously the rich heritage in infrastructure and telecoms. But what we've done and what we're doing really, really successfully is taking all the digital innovation that we've done for ourselves. So we've got literally across the African continent, we've got close to 1 million subscribers. We can't manage those type of subscribers unless we digitize ourselves. So we've done a lot of internal digitization. We've taken projects and programs from Vodafone deployed them internally, and then said, well, if we can digitize ourselves, why don't we take our learnings and digitize our customers? Because we understand how important the network is. We understand how to integrate that into the network. So now we're starting to take those practices and those knowledge and taking it into the customer environment. So all the robotics process as a service that we do for ourselves, we can just as easily do for a large financial services company. So there's a lot of developments around IoT, which is another big buzzword. We use IT internally to manage security on our towers, to manage temperature in the equipment. All of those learnings could just as easily be applied to a fridge in a retailer or to a security company on patrol. So effectively, as we digitize ourselves, we digitize our customers, and that's the journey that we're on. And we've seen COVID has just accelerated everything we do. I mean, at one stage, we had 70, 80% of our staff working from home, running a telco from home. We've really had to put processes and digital applications in place. Those are all now being turned outwards, customer facing, and we're allowing that learning to get to our customers.
Yeah, I mean, I remember talking to Shamil, I think it was the end of March or the first week of April. As you correctly said, you had 80, 90% of this entire Vodacom staff just working remotely. It's like extraordinary, unthought of. If I'd said that to any of you executives at the beginning of January, you would have laughed at me, but yet it happened, and it's still happening, and it's happening seamlessly. Where do you see this all going in the next 3 years? I know that Vodacom has been very active with 5G, for example. I imagine scenarios like SD-WAN and digital transformation are going to be a completely different picture in 18 months to 3 years from now, with the speeds that 5G is going to bring, for example, and the more adoption that we move to the cloud. I think it's going to be a different picture in 3 years from now. Where do you see it?
So absolutely. So I think 5G is the big global game changer. That's going to really change the world. That's going to get us into the digital sphere. We're on the journey now, but 5G is the game changer. I think there's still a long way to go. I think to get 5G and to get the new digital economy really on track, you still need a lot of infrastructure. And that's why you're still seeing Vodacom investing literally billions of rands every year into fiber infrastructure. I think that'll happen for the next couple of years. But I think in parallel, as spectrum becomes available and we launch 5G, COVID has shown that you don't need to be in a physical presence, in a physical location.
Yeah.
I think the new normal is going to be flexibility, mobility, and work from anywhere. And 5G and technologies like SD-WAN and cloud are going to fade into the background, and the imagination is going to be the limit. With 5G now, I don't know if you've seen that I think it was T-Systems in the US. They did a remote tattoo. So there was a tattoo artist sitting in one country, and the patient was sitting miles, literally thousands of kilometers away. And doing a tattoo is very tactile sensitive. You can do that with 5G because the response times and the latency bring your device right to the user. So telemedicine and stuff like that is just going to be crazy.
Are you willing to be the guinea pig for the South African test of that tattoo technology?
I don't have a tattoo, but I think it'll work.
Well, listen, I mean, I guess the tattoo is a great analogy for, doing an operation. I mean, if you can get that kind of stability, imagine performing surgery across the Atlantic. It's extraordinary times we're living in. And Ermano, thank you so much for really highlighting the value that SD-WAN adds and what Vodacom brings to the picture. And certainly a technology that is, people should be looking at very seriously in organizations, just from the point of view of making things less complex. And networks have become complex, and SD-WAN certainly uncomplicates things and adds a lot more agility. Ermano Quartero, Vodacom executive, great to chat to you again, my friend, and look after yourself. And I hope to see you soon when this COVID pandemic is over.
Thank you, Aki. Nice seeing you again.
Take care.